12 events that changed the world forever. From the fall of Rome to robots on Mars. Let's begin. Number 1. The fall of Rome. One mighty empire crumbled, and from the rubble 1,000 new beginnings arose. For 500 years, this empire ruled the world. Its roads, its laws, its armies, a circumflex euros, unstoppable. Then the cracks appeared. And when it finally fell, nothing was ever the same again. At its height, Rome controlled an empire stretching from Britain to Egypt. Its roads connected entire continents. Its aqueducts carried water for miles. Its laws governed millions. The ancient world ran on Roman power. But the empire grew too big to manage. Armies stretched too thin. The government split in two. Taxes ran out. Groups from the north and east pushed across the borders. In 476, the last Western emperor gave up his crown. The Western Roman Empire was finished. From Rome's ruins, new kingdoms rose across Europe. Each developed its own culture, language, and laws. Monks preserved Roman books and learning. Latin evolved into French, Spanish, Italian, and Portuguese. A new era had begun. Rome fell, but its ideas did not. Our laws, roads, languages, and buildings still carry Roman DNA. An empire crumbled so a new world could grow. Number 2. The Gutenberg Bible. A machine that copied books changed who got to have ideas forever. One copy in 2 years, or 180 copies in 3. In 1455, a single machine did what an army of monks could never match, and the world noticed. Before printing, books were written by hand and cost a fortune. A whole library might hold fewer than 20 books. Most people never saw one. Knowledge was locked behind monastery walls, and only the wealthy could afford to buy it. Johannes Gutenberg printed about 180 copies of the Bible on his press. Each page was set in movable metal type, inked, and pressed onto paper or fine calfskin. The result was beautiful, consistent, and shockingly fast compared to hand copying. Within 50 years, 8 million books existed in Europe. Ideas spread at an unstoppable speed. Martin Luther's arguments reached millions through printed pamphlets. Scientists published discoveries that anyone could read. The Reformation and the Scientific Revolution both ran on printed pages. One book proved that ideas could be copied and shared without limit. From that workshop in Mainz came newspapers, textbooks, and the internet. Information wants to be free. Gutenberg set it loose. Number 3. Columbus 1492. Two halves of the world met each other, and nothing was ever the same. For thousands of years, two halves of the world existed completely apart. Different people, different animals, different food, different everything. Then 3 small ships crossed the gap, and the two halves became one. Europe had horses, wheat, and iron. The Americas had maize, potatoes, tomatoes, and gold. Each side had developed amazing civilizations, completely unaware that the other existed, separated by the widest ocean on Earth. In 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed 3 ships west from Spain, searching for a route to Asia. After 5 weeks of open ocean, a lookout spotted land. It was not Asia. It was a continent Europeans had never imagined existed. The connection changed both sides of the world forever. Potatoes and maize from the Americas fed millions in Europe. Horses from Europe transformed life in the Americas. Foods, animals, and ideas crossed the ocean in both directions. The world was permanently connected. That first crossing opened a door that never closed. Today, food, people, and ideas flow between continents every second. One voyage linked 2 worlds, and the world has been one ever since. Number 4. The French Revolution. Ordinary people demanded power and rewrote the rules of government. In 1789, the people of France had had enough. Hungry, taxed, and ignored, they marched. Not dozens, not hundreds, a circumflex euros, millions. and when they moved, the whole world felt it. The king lived in a palace dripping with gold while ordinary people went hungry. They paid heavy taxes but had no voice. The nobility feasted. The people starved. And the king believed he ruled by divine right, a circumflex euros, answerable to nobody. The crowd stormed the Bastille fortress. They wrote the Declaration of the Rights of Man, a circumflex euros, every person born free and equal. The king lost his power. For the first time in France, ordinary people demanded a say in how they were governed. The French Revolution inspired the world. Haiti fought for freedom and won. Countries across Latin America declared independence. Revolutions swept through Europe. The idea that power belongs to the people, not to kings, became unstoppable. Liberty, equality, and the rights of every person. These words echo in constitutions around the world today. One revolution in France lit a fire that never went out. Number 5. Abolition. The long fight to end slavery became a turning point for human rights everywhere. For hundreds of years, millions of people were held in chains, forced to work, forced to obey. Then, slowly, the chains began to break. People fought for freedom and the world started to listen. The slave trade moved millions of people across the Atlantic Ocean against their will. They were forced to work on plantations growing sugar, cotton, and tobacco. Entire families were torn apart. It was one of the greatest injustices in human history. People who had been enslaved told their stories. Alota Equiano wrote his experience, and thousands read it. Abolitionists like William Wilberforce fought in Parliament for decades. Frederick Douglass spoke with a power that could not be ignored. Step by step, laws began to change. Britain abolished slavery across its empire in 1833. France followed. After a devastating civil war, the United States freed millions in 1865. Brazil was the last major country, ending slavery in 1888. One by one, the chains fell. Abolition ended legal slavery, but the fight for true equality and fairness continues today. Every step forward started with people who refused to accept injustice. Their courage changed the world. Number 6. The Industrial Revolution. Machines replaced muscle and the modern world switched on. One person weaving by hand could make a few inches of cloth a day. A machine could make miles of it. In the 1760s, machines started replacing hands, and everything humans had done for centuries changed overnight. Before the Industrial Revolution, almost everything was made by hand at home. Families spun their own thread, wove their own cloth, and made their own tools. Production was slow. Most people lived in small villages surrounded by farmland. Factories gathered hundreds of machines under one roof, all powered by steam. Raw materials went in one end and finished products came out the other. One factory could produce more cloth in a day than a village could make in a year. People moved from farms to cities for factory jobs. Railways connected cities. Steamships connected countries. Products that were once luxuries became cheap enough for everyone. In just a few generations, the world looked completely different. We still live in the world the Industrial Revolution built. Mass production, cities, global trade, factory work. The machines got smarter, but the idea stayed the same, a circumflex euros. Let machines do the work. Number 7. Women's suffrage. Women fought for the right to vote and changed democracy forever. They marched through rain and resistance. Thousands of women filling the streets carrying one simple demand: let us vote. For decades they were ignored, but they never stopped. For most of history, only men could vote. Women could not choose their leaders, change their laws, or have any say in how their country was run. Half the world's people were shut out of democracy. Women fought for decades. Emmeline Pankhurst led protests in Britain. Susan B. Anthony broke the law by voting in America. In 1893, New Zealand became the first country where all women could vote. The movement was growing. Country after country followed. Australia, Finland, Britain, the United States, France, a circumflex Euros, each one finally recognizing that democracy means everyone. The fight took decades in most countries, but every victory made the next one easier. Today, women vote, lead, and govern in countries around the world. Every ballot cast is a victory those marchers made possible. They changed democracy by demanding it include everyone. Number 8. The Moon Landing. Humans left Earth and stood on another world for the very first time. A boot presses into gray dust, a footprint that will last for millions of years because there is no wind to blow it away. For the first time, a human being is standing on another world. The moon has watched over Earth for billions of years. Every person in history has looked up at it and wondered, could we ever go there? It is almost 400,000 kilometers away. Nobody had even come close. On July 16, 1969, the Saturn V rocket launched 3 astronauts toward the moon. 4 days later, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin flew the Eagle lander down to the surface. With just seconds of fuel left, they touched down safely. Armstrong stepped out first. The moon landing proved humans could leave Earth. After Apollo came satellites that connect the world, a space station where people live in orbit, rovers exploring Mars, and telescopes seeing to the edge of the universe. That footprint is still there. And the sight of Earth from the moon changed how we see ourselves, a circumflex Euros, a small, bright world floating in endless space. We reached the impossible, and we have never stopped reaching. Number 9. The Berlin Wall. A wall came down and a divided world began to come together. For 28 years, a wall of concrete and barbed wire split a city in two. Families on one side could not reach families on the other. Then, on one extraordinary night, the wall cracked open. After the Second World War, the city of Berlin was split between East and West. In 1961, a wall was built overnight. Families were separated. Friends were cut off. Guards stopped anyone from crossing. The wall became the symbol of a world divided. On November 9, 1989, an official accidentally announced the border was open. Thousands rushed to the checkpoints. The guards, overwhelmed, stepped aside. People streamed through the gates. Families separated for decades ran into each other's arms. People tore the wall down with hammers, piece by piece. Within a year, Germany was reunited. Across Eastern Europe, countries threw off their restrictions. The Cold War, which had divided the world for 40 years, was ending. Today, a line of cobblestones in the pavement marks where the wall once stood. People walk over it every day without thinking. Walls built to divide can be brought down by people who refuse to be separated. Number 10. The World Wide Web. One invention connected every person on the planet. Click a blue link and a new page appears. That page has more links. Click again and you are somewhere else entirely. One page connects to a million. This simple idea changed how humans share everything. The internet already existed, but it was a confusing maze of text commands. No pictures, no links, no easy way to browse. Only computer experts could use it. If you wanted information from another computer, you needed to know exactly where it was and how to ask for it. Tim Berners-Lee, a physicist at CERN, invented 3 simple things: web pages that anyone can create, hyperlinks that connect them, and web addresses that locate them. In 1991, he put the first website online. Anyone in the world could visit it. The web exploded. Search engines found anything in seconds. Shops sold everything online. Social media connected billions. Streaming replaced television. A student with a phone now has access to more information than the greatest library in history. From one page with a few links to billions of connected pages. The web is where the world shops, learns, talks, and plays. One physicist's idea to share documents became the front door of human knowledge. Number 11. The human genome. Scientists read every letter of the instruction book for building a human being. 3 billion letters. That is how long the instruction book for building a human being is. In 2003, scientists finished reading every single one. For the first time, we could see the complete recipe for a person. Scientists already knew DNA was the instruction book of life. But reading it was like trying to understand a library by reading random sentences from random pages. We had tiny scraps. We needed the whole book. The Human Genome Project brought together thousands of scientists from 6 countries. For 13 years, they worked through the DNA letter by letter, lab by lab, each team tackling a different section. In 2003, they finished. The whole book was readable. Reading the genome transformed medicine. Doctors can now match treatments to a patient's DNA. Cancer researchers find genetic weak spots to target. Ancestry tests reveal heritage across continents. Newborn screening catches conditions before symptoms even appear. Today, reading a full genome takes hours, not years. The book is open, and we are still learning what every page means. 3 billion letters a circumflex euros, the instruction book for being human a circumflex euros, finally readable. Number 12. Mars Rovers. Robots drove across Mars and showed us another planet up close. Right now, a robot the size of a car is driving across the surface of Mars. It takes photographs, drills into rocks, and sends everything back to Earth. Humans exploring another planet a circumflex euros without leaving home. For centuries, Mars was just a reddish dot in the sky. Even the best telescopes showed only a blurry disk. People imagined canals, oceans, and even life. But nobody really knew what the surface looked like. Mars kept its secrets. In 2004, the rover's Spirit and Opportunity landed on Mars. Curiosity followed in 2012. Perseverance in 2021. Each one bigger, smarter, and more capable. Landing on Mars is incredibly hard a circumflex euros, but we did it 4 times. The rovers found riverbeds carved by ancient water. They discovered minerals that only form when water is present. Mars once had rivers and maybe lakes. The Ingenuity helicopter even flew on Mars a circumflex euros, the first powered flight on another world. Rovers are our scouts. They go first, find the water, map the ground, and test the air. One day humans will follow their tracks. Mars is not a mystery anymore. It is a destination.